Dobar dan, nastavljamo sa radom 27. Kopaonik Biznis foruma. Nadam se da ste se dobro odmorili i da ste spremni za današnji rad. Na samom početku imam veliko zadovoljstvo i čast da vam predstavim specijalnog gosta ovogodišnjeg Kopaonik Biznis foruma. Kao što svi dobro znate, kao što ste upoznati, centralna tema ovogodišnjeg foruma jeste Industrija 4.0, povezana pitanja i izazovi budućnosti. I stoga je želja organizatora da se upravo na forumu predstave nova iskustva i nova rešenja drugih zemalja. Specijalni gost 27. Kopaonik Biznis foruma je gospodin Marko TAISCH. Gospodin TAISCH je profesor ekonomije, menadžmenta i industrijskog inženjeringa na Politehničkom fakultetu u Milanu. Profesor TAISCH je naučni predsjednik Svetskog manufakturing foruma, a od osnivanja 2011. godine nalazi se u Upravnom odboru Nacionalnog plana Italije za industriju 4.0. Rad ove institucije direktno koordinira Ministarstvo za ekonomski razvoj Vlade Republike Italije. Profesor TAISCH je deo grupe od 40 naučnika koji rade na polju pametne i digitalizovane proizvodnje, energetske efikasnosti u proizvodnji, proizvodnom data modelingu, Internet of Things, Internet of Services i cyberfizičkim sistemima, kao i projektima održive mas customizacije. Tokom godina ova grupa naučnika je ostvarila značajnu industrijsku saradnju sa velikim multinacionalnim kompanijama, među kojima su Siemens, Bosch, SAP, IBM i Schneider Electric. Gospodin TAISCH će nam danas govoriti o novim iskustvima, o inovacionim modelima, kao i o načinima na koji Italija pristupa četvrtoj industrijskoj revoluciji. Gospodin TAISCH, izvolite.
Good morning, everybody. I'm really happy to be here today. It's really a special honor for me to come here and to share with you my concern about the future, but also some challenges and also some hope on the way we see in which we can exploit the benefit of Industry 4.0. I've been working in this area for many years. More than 25 years. It was called smart manufacturing. It was called previously computer integrated manufacturing. It changes the name, but I think today we are really facing something new. We are really facing a revolution, and from different perspective. I think that this is not just a pure industrial revolution. When we used to refer it as industrial revolution, I think we're making a mistake. I think that this is more a cultural revolution, is more a social revolution, which is going from the society to the factory. And we need to be ready to accommodate it. We need to prepare our companies. We need to prepare our factories in order to face this opportunity. What I would like to discuss with you today is the results of the report we produced last year within the framework of the World Manufacturing Forum, which is an initiative which I launched in 2011 in Italy. We have this forum every year. You will be invited to come also if you want in June this year on 10 and 11. And we are addressing the manufacturing sectors not only from the technological perspective, but also from the policymaker perspective. And then the second topic is referring to how we are acting in Italy, especially in my region where I'm from, in the region of Lombardy, in order to have all the SMEs to follow and take advantages of this. So two main parts. So skills and innovation model. I think that this is the key point. To buy a machine, which is Industry 4.0, let me say, is easy. To run a machine which is connected, which is producing data, extract value from data, this is more difficult to be done. And for this, you need people to be prepared. So this is the challenge. It's not to invest in new technology. And that's why last year we have been focusing on skills and education and so on and so forth. We have produced this report. This report is, you can download it, and it's very easy to read it, but let me summarize it. Where is the problem? Here is the problem. Skill gaps. Look at this chart here. You see that there is a huge problem in terms of quantity. Skill gaps in terms of quantity. These are the number of open jobs, the light blue, and the dark blue is the number of people were hired in this period of time. Why? Lack of focus on training. The people were there, but they had not the right competences to be hired. The education system was not able to provide enough people. Why? Because most of the problem we are facing is that we still think, or families still thinks that manufacturing is bad, is polluting, is not a nice job, is not a nice opportunity for the children. I have to convince not my students to enroll in my university. I have to convince the mother to have them to be enrolled. Another problem is that what we are facing is also a problem of immigration, which is not prepared enough to go into this job. So we have a problem in terms of numbers. Second kind of problem that we have is related with the quality of the people and the quality of the skills that we are going to face. If you look at these statistics here, you see that the number of physical and manual skills or cognitive skills are going to decrease. And what is going to be required in the near future is cognitive skills, how to read data, for example, social and emotional skills, but you see that the highest increase will be in technological skill. Look at the last slides there. So the problem is that technology is evolving too fast. People is not evolving fast enough. It's easy to buy a machine. You can do it a decision in 6 months, 1 year, to plan your investment. But in order to train a person to be able to run this machine, you need years. And that's the problem. This revolution is too fast for the people. It's not fast for the technology. It's too fast for the people. Jobs, new jobs are coming. New profiles are coming. Do we have the right competences to face this job? That's the problem. So quantity, and here is quality of the competences. So type of skills are different. Third, this is very interesting. You see that what you see here is that what we are going to face is that we are training only or too much the high-skilled workers, but we also need to train, let me say, the low-skilled workers in order to have the whole working population to grow. There is a tendency to train all the skilled workers because we think that by training them, because we think that this is easy to train them, and by training them we will have a higher impact. This is not always true. We need also to work with low-skilled workers. And here we are using this slide for Accenture. It's also an economical and social problem. It's not only a problem related to people. What you have here in these lines, you see the dark blue line under each country. This is the estimation of the low GDP that you could have based on the fact that you do not have the proper skilled worker. You see that some countries could be highly affected by this. So training people is not only a way to increase the productivity of the company, it's a way to increase the productivity of all of the country. And so for this reason, we think that it's not only a business problem, prepare the right skill, but is impacting the society, and it's a societal problem to prepare people with the right skill. But now the problem is, okay, fine, we got the skills, problem, we got the skill gaps, we understand it, but how and which kind of education, which kind of training we need to give to the people. And we did this analysis with more than 40 experts from all over the world. We have been interviewing them, we have been discussing with them, people coming from the society, people coming from the education, people coming from the entrepreneur, large company and small company. And this is the result we had. What are the 10 competences, the 10 skills that people should have in order to improve the productivity of the company? And this is the discussion. First, digital literacy is needed. I'm not talking about the ability to open an iPad or open or switch off a computer. That's easy. That's the basic. I'm talking about the digital literacy in the manufacturing system. Are you able to interact with the machine? Are you able to read data? Are you able to understand what are all the information which will be coming from IoT system? Though we need a higher level of digital literacy, number one. Number two, AI, artificial intelligence, data analysis. Everybody's talking about artificial intelligence as the technology of the future. I think it is. And he will produce a lot of data. He will produce a lot of information. Are we able to read all this data? Are we mentally prepared to read it? I think our brain is a great machine. But if we go in overflow by providing too much information, are we able to use all of them? It's stupid to invest in artificial intelligence if then the people are not able to take the right decision based on the data that artificial intelligence will be able to provide. Number three, problem solving. We have been always discussing about problem solving. Managers are supposed to be a problem solver. This is fine. But what we are going to face in the future is a different perspective. Too many times I've been talking with managers and they say, hey, I am a good manager because I had the feeling that that was the direction. Having a feeling doesn't mean that you take a decision based on real information, based on real data. What we need to have in the future is decision perspective, decision processes which are based on data. Data-based decision process is going to be the future. Number four, mindset, entrepreneurial mindset. I'm not talking about entrepreneur only. I'm talking that fact that the last blue collar in the show floor should change the mindset and go from a person who is acting, who is doing a task, toward a person who is taking decision. If you have a lot of data and you give the data to the blue collar, okay, you should expect from the blue collar to take a decision and how to use the data. That means that his or her mindset should change in a more proactive way. 5, physically and psychologically safely and effectively with new technology. If collaborative robots is going to be happening, I need to change the way to interact with the robot. I need to expect myself to work with an artificial intelligence. Did you trust your GPS, your navigator in the machine? You trust it, right? What is, sometimes, not always, right? Yeah. We trusted to come here to Kopaonik, and I think we got lost a little bit, but that was another problem. But you trust it. What are you doing? You trust an algorithm. Now, for the GPS is okay, but if the artificial intelligence algorithm is going to give me instruction on how to run a machine, on how to run a factory. Will I trust it? We are not expected normally to have a boss, which is an artificial intelligence algorithm. But this will happen in the future. Are we prepared as a human being, as individual, to accept that this algorithm will give me instruction on what to do? That's a psychological change in the perspective of the people, and we need to be ready to do it. Number 6, intercultural, disciplinary, inclusive, and diversity-oriented mindset. Immigration is becoming a normal issue. More and more people are coming from different countries. We need to improve our ability to work in a very diverse environment, and I think that our education system today is not preparing it. Cybersecurity, privacy, and data information mindful. Too many times, cybersecurity is not only a technological problem. Is people are not educated to keep their data secure enough, and we need to train people in this perspective. Ability to handle increasing complexity, multiple requirements, and simultaneous tasks. If I have data coming from the machine, if I have data coming from the talk I have with my people, the world is getting more and more complex. Are we ready to manage all this information, all this input coming from different perspectives, having a different complexity? Is our brain able to do it? We need to train people to be able to do it. Communication skills with humans. When I came here, I was really impressed about the friendship of the Serbian people. Yeah, it's impressive. You have a lot of human skills, right? Communication skills, that's great. But then, if we want to use all the benefit which is coming from the Industry 4.0 technologies, we need to improve our communication skills with machines. I don't really know what it means, but we need to change it. Last night I was writing some email. I was not writing email anymore. I was talking with my laptop in order to, write the email. I had to change my voice. I had to change the tone of my voice, the speed of my voice. But once my machine is well prepared, well trained, I will improve my productivity. Okay. If you are interacting with a robot, a collaborative robots, and you talk with the robot, you cannot get angry with the robot. It will not react if you get angry, right? So we need to change our communication skills. And last but not least, open-mindedness. Change is fast than before. The speed. If we look back at the second or the third industrial revolution, they were slow enough to allow people to adjust. The speed of the innovation was low enough that people were able to adjust. With this revolution, we are going to have 5-10 years in which this technology will be spread all over the world. We are not ready to do it. We have a problem here because the aging population is there, but the aged population is less ready, is less prepared to accept the changes. So what are we going to do with this population? They have all the know-how, they have all the experience. Are we able to transfer all the know-how they have into the younger population? This was, during the second and third industrial revolution, was easy to be done. But now, this is going to be the challenge. Ready to change, I think, is an important skill that we need to educate people since they are in their childhood. Now, a little bit more provocative. We have been trying also to describe some, possible new roles in a factory, in a company. Of course, I do not pretend to be exhaustive here. We have identified more than 100 new roles. and I can provide you the list if you want. So here I will going to change to describe some of them. Digital ethics officer. Can I go back now to the I was not sure to have women in the next slide, but no, I'm sure. Digital ethics officer. Uh, what is going to happen to my data? Who is going to use my data? The data, not my personal data. I'm talking about data in my factory, in my company. How these are going to be used? Maybe we need to prepare someone who is able to take care of this aspect. Industrial big data scientist. We always talk about big data scientist, but industrial big data is different. I don't need a mathematicians only. I need a mathematicians who is able to understand about industry. Otherwise, I have a perfect algorithm, but if I'm not able to, customize the analysis in the industry, I will not take all the output out of this data. Collaborative robot expert, for example, is something new. Lean 4.0 engineer. No, we always talk about lean manufacturing. This is there for decades. But when I insert the technology there, how lean is going to change? IT enable lean manufacturing. It's a merge between two perspectives. Digital mentor, help people to be more comfortable working with technology. This is very important. Okay, and what you see here are just roles about people talking about IT. Please do not misunderstand. We were discussing this last night. The pure traditional manufacturing technology is also there, is still there. You need to be strong in traditional manufacturing technology. That's for sure. So it's not here in this slide because it's not new. It doesn't mean that it's not relevant. It's still relevant. What you need to do is that you need to go digital, and on top of your strong competences, you need to put digital competences on top. So we need to understand what these digital competences are related to a strong manufacturing sectors in the industry. And skill assessment. What is it? Are you able to really understand the skills and the competences that your people has? If there are new skills that were never detected, are we ready? Our HR, the human resource department, is able to understand and measure the new skills? I don't think they are. So we need to prepare a new type of assessment in terms of skills. And we need to develop new methodologies and new tools. Did you train people in the company? I do sometimes. When I have an audience of 50, 40, 30 workers, blue collars, they have been doing this task for 20 years. They come to me and say, hey, what are you teaching me? What are you training me? I've been doing this for 20 years. I know what to do. And they just simply switch off their mind and they don't want to be trained. Some of them say, hey, I will go in retirement in 10 years from now. Why should I improve my skills? Why should I get better? Why are you here losing my time and your time? Okay? Because the training, the education has always been in a very pure traditional way. Let me say boring way, especially if it's given by a university professor, right? Okay? But the technology today allows us to use a lot of different methodologies. E-learning, mobile learning. We have learning factory. You know what a learning factory is? It's a factory which has been built not just for producing, but which is built in order to train people. And I will discuss what we are doing in Italy later on in a while. Now, let me give now the suggestions on what to do. These are 10 recommendations that we developed last year within the World Manufacturing Forum. I want to share them with you. This is a suggestion. I hope that this will be shared and adopted by you, by the country. This is something that we are doing in Italy, but this is something that other countries is also adopting. And those recommendations are not addressed only to the workers, are not addressed only to the company, are also addressed to the policymaker. And I hope that this will be interesting for you. Recommendation number 1. And this is addressed to people. Workers should proactively seek out lifelong learning opportunities. I think that this is a really disruptive approach. Workers normally sit down and say and wait. Okay, now the responsibility of the training of the education is up to the manager, to the business man. Workers should change the mind. To be trained is not a right anymore. To be trained is their responsibility. I know that this is really disruptive. If you go again to the same 50 years old workers and say, now you have to be trained because it's your responsibility, he will just simply sit down and he has not the mindset. But this is very important, that they are able to change the mindset. We are working with unions in Italy, and some of the unionists are, let me say, very smart, and they have understood that if they want to keep a job for their associate, they had to convince the associate to be trained. Increase investment in workforce education to reach the full potential of new technology. The mistake I saw from many entrepreneurs is, okay, I buy an Industry 4.0 machine, I put it there, now I'm 4.0, it's done. No, that's a huge mistake. If you buy this machine, you need to be able to train the workers to fully exploit all the potential of this machine. And this is the most the highest challenge. In the Industry 4.0 plan of Italy, which was launched in 2017, there were 2 fiscal incentives. One was on machine and software, and the other one was on education. 40% of fiscal deduction if you train your people. Machine and people, always. Number 3, and this is for the policymaker. Policies to promote manufacturing workforce education and training. This is exactly what we did with our government in the National Industry Plan 4.0. Incentives. Ensure policies addresses the needs of relevant stakeholders, not only companies, families, people, all of them should be there. So you see that the first 3 recommendations are working on the first 3 dimensions. People, number 1, companies, number 2, and policymaker, number 3. And this is the, let me say, the magic triangle that we need to act in order to prepare people for the future. Number 4. Manufacturing for too long has been considered dark, polluting, not a nice job. Now, for example, in Italy, we have too many TV shows on, cooking, and so there was a huge increase in the school for cooking. Everybody wants to go in a restaurant and cook. We have too many of them, but nobody wants to be an industrial engineer, or let me say, few of them. But if you look at the hiring percentage of industrial engineer, 96% in 3 months. In my university, 65% of the students, they have a job already the day in which they got their degree. 65%. 3 years later, this goes to 95%. Full employment. But still, this need to be communicated to families. Suggestion or recommendation number 5. Be careful here. We need technical people. We need technical competences, no doubt. The world is getting complex, more complex, so we need those kind of competences. And the list of the skills is the one I already mentioned before. But we need to open the mind of the people. That's why we need to add, on top of vertical direct competences, generalistic competences to those people. Digital technologies to innovate delivery of education and training. We need to convince the people, we need to convince the companies, we need to convince the educators to use all the possible technologies. Okay, mobile technologies, learning, teaching technologies. We need to train the trainers. For too long, let me say, the trainers are training people in an old-fashioned and boring way. This is not effective enough. Recommendation number 7, social mobility through manufacturing. This is incredible. You know, manufacturing is or can be the way for many people to improve their salary, to move in the society, from one class to the other. And I think that manufacturing today is or can be a really social impact creator. We discuss about social impact. Manufacturing is the right sector to create the highest impact on the society. Relevant skills are being taught, of course. That's important. How to do it? Involve industry in updating curriculum in school. In my university, we have the advisory board of the university is made only by people coming from industry and from not-for-profit organization. And those people are suggesting us what to include in our curriculum. Be open, and this will be a virtuous circle. Number 9, vocational education and training pathways. Too often, we always discuss about universities, engineers. I am one of them. But what is making some countries strong is that vocational training is really powerful. I don't know the situation in Serbia, but I think that we do not need only PhD students and engineers. We need a lot of technical people there. And that's where I think some countries are making their differences. And last but not the least, foster collaboration to address skill development needs. I think that this forum is very important. It's the formula it has is very important because this is a very friendly, where people are putting aside their competition and discussing about future skills and so on. Companies should take the leadership in this. Don't let university professors to design this. But I would like to have more entrepreneurs coming to me and say, I need this, I need this, I need this. Still, this is not in the mentality of many entrepreneurs. They are still sitting aside and say, okay, they will provide the right people to me. This is not enough. I think you need to have this more dynamic perspective. Now, the annual meeting will be, the World Manufacturing Forum will be on the 10-11 of June. And I invite you to come, of course. But now the second part, and I'm also almost done. How we are taking this list of skills, how we are taking this list of 10 recommendations in Italy and try to implement them. We have, thanks to the support of our government, create 8 competence centers on Industry 4.0. MADE, I am the president of it, is one of the 8 of them. MADE is the one which is located in Milano. We'll be opening in July, September this year, so everybody is then invited to visit. Maybe we can organize something together if this is an interest for you. But how this competence center works. In this way, we started from the analysis of the manufacturing sectors. What you see here in this graph, it looks like complex, but it is not. On the x-axis, we have analyzed the digital maturity of the companies. On the y-axis, we have analyzed the digital maturity of the people, of the human capital. So workers, skills, competences they have. Look here, this was done 3 years ago, okay? Those, we call them, let me say, not aware, not interested, okay? We can be more direct, sleeping companies, maybe we can call like this, okay? On the other side here are the best, the ones who are really prepared and with the right people. Was only 2% of the company. Here what you have, here you have companies which are doing something because are okay with their people, are okay with the technology. Here what you have, here you have people or companies who have invested a lot in technologies but not on the people. And here on the other side you have, they do not invest in technology, they are afraid of the technology, and they have invested only in people and human capital. So roughly, we have 3 groups of company. This company doesn't need to be helped, or they need a very special help. This company needs to be moved from here to here. And this one needs to be wake up. We need to go there, slap them and say, hey, scroll them. Something is happening outside. You need to come with us. So what we did is that we have designed 8 competence centers exactly to address each of the 3 groups of company. You have the map of them here. These competence centers are focused on different technologies. They are located all over the country, but they are national, and this is very important. It's national perspective. The MAID, the one I'm president of, is located in Milano, but I am addressing all the nation, all the country. I'm focused on a particular technologies and delivering services to all the country. So my target is not Lombardy, my target is the whole country. And the same for the other 7. And that's very important. We didn't want to have 8 of them the same. We want to have each of them unique on a particular focus on a particular technology. The government has invested 74 million of euros for 3 years. And what you see here, that we have these competence centers, and then we have created a large network. We call them digital innovation hubs. This is also coming from the European Commission description. The digital innovation hubs are small offices spread all over the country. They interact with the companies. They are like the first aid in an hospital. They go to the company, they say to the company, hey, what is your problem? This is the problem. Let's go to one of the 8 competence centers. So we have concentrated the competences. So competences are not spread, are not distributed, because otherwise we won't be able to create a critical mass. But what is spread is the network of first aid throughout the country. This is made by one person. There are like 150 all over the country. One person offices. Let me discuss about MAID, my competence. What we did is not a university-led initiative. It's not. It's an initiative which is led by industries. 39 companies, 4 university and 1 public entity. And the type of companies, we have technology providers, we have consultancy company, education providers is named mainly the university, and we have some users. We have created a company. It's a startup, let me say, in this perspective. And this is the list. So you see, we have technology provider, Bosch. We have Siemens, ST Microelectronics. we have SAP, and so on and so forth. Also, we have a small company. All of them, they have invested money. They have invested technologies, hardware and software. They have invested people for the next 3 years. The money they are giving to us, or to this initiative, it's here. 5 million of euros in hardware and software. We are going to create, these are some rendering. Okay, you see here offices and so on and so forth. It's a 2,000 square meters learning or teaching factory. We will have islands. Each island is a small piece. Do you go to IKEA? You had this experience in time, right? You buy Italian furniture. Good job. That's, yeah. Thank you. What's your name? I can give you my, okay. But what is the business model of IKEA? They do not present you a full apartment, right? They have modularized the apartment. When you go, you have different options of living room. And then you have different options of rooms for your children, right? And then, at the end of the tour, you build in your mind the apartment of your dream, what you would like to have. So we did the same. If we build a factory, a fully automated 4.0 factory, and I take one of the guy coming from this group here, where is it? Here. I take one guy from this group here, and I show him a 2,000 square meter fully automated Industry 4.0 factory. What do you think will be his reaction or her reaction? Oh, too much for me. Yes, I will never do it. Huh? Then we lose. If this will be the reaction, we lose. So we need to take these people piece by piece. What is your problem? Artificial intelligence? Okay. Collaborative robots? Let's go there. And we need to explain them that you can do Industry 4.0, not in a holistic way, but step by step, step by step. And in order to do this, we need to create those small pieces of a factory. And this is exactly what we have done there. So the money given by this industry are 5 million euros for 3 years. Sorry, in terms of equipment, 4 in terms of cash, 13 million euros per person in terms of full-time equivalent. And this money are private money. And then we had more than roughly 10 million euros coming from our government. Those figures are 3 years, on a budget of 3 years. So the investment, it's roughly 20 million euros investment for 3 years. And these are the list of what I used to call the IKEA booth. Yeah, each of them is focused on a particular technology. And you see, this is an example of a rendering on one of the areas. This is the 2,000 square meters. Here we will use it for teaching, trainings, events, and so on and so forth. And this part is related to the showroom. And this is a special address to one of the persons sitting in the room here. This will be side by side with the co-location of the EIT Manufacturing South, so the co-location can use the 2,000 square meter investment to use a teaching factory and as a made available by our government. I think that this model is very important. We are not having students here. We are having people coming from industry only. This is the target. Students are trained and educated in the university, in the schools, but how to convince the 50 years old person, workers, blue collar, to be trained, to get improved? I think this is the way to show that this is possible. This is not just a dream, but it's a reality. Thank you so much. Sure. Oh, whoa. Be careful.
Splendid, wonderful work. Thank you so much for very informative and deep presentation of opportunities. Actually, you are presented behavioral approach in some technical details about Industry 4.0. And you mentioned new sphere or a new business platform you are forming.
Yes.
Is it possible to merge this platform with the largest business platforms in the world, like Amazon Sphere? Or is it winner takes all effects at the end of the day?
Merging with Amazon, what do you mean?
Amazon Sphere.
Yes.
Yes, a super network of Amazon.
I see those kind of platform or approaches just an enabler of this evolution. I think the problem we are going to have in Europe is that all these platforms are based or in the US, and we do not have our own in Europe. So the risk is that in the future we will depend too much on private, non-European based company. That could be the risk. Of course, the European Commission is always trying to, let's put 200 million euros in creating our own digital platform. I mean, you don't need only 200 million euros. This is not enough for doing this. Siemens is trying to do it with MindSphere, right? To create their cloud for factory, but this is specifically addressed to factories, and all the other data are not going into factory. I think that this is going to be a threat for us. And the second threat we are going to have is artificial intelligence. The money that the Commission is putting on artificial intelligence development R&D is not enough compared to the budget that the United States and China are investing. That's a problem, I think.
Alec Kavcic, Carnegie Mellon University. Can you contrast your approach, which is a government approach, versus what's happening in the US, where the government is more or less hands-off, and Amazon is already doing what you're suggesting? Why is it better that the government does this versus initiative from the university? Thank you.
With the Obama administration, they had created a number of competence centers as well. When we created this model, we have been visiting DMDII in Chicago, and the government has invested 20 million euros of public money supported with the private funds to create this competence center. So also in the US, they understood that they need to, in some cases, to create this kind of government-led initiative. Similar initiatives are in UK with the catapult centers. Germany is creating what they call the Industry 4.0 lab network, are smaller labs, but spread all over the country. So I think that these are kind of seed money that are put there by the government. And the idea of the content of the 8 competence center was not decided by the government, was decided by the companies and by the universities. But it's co-funded by the government. Yes.
Darko Budic, thank you very much for your excellent presentation, Professor TAISCH. I have one comment and one question. We are on your diagram probably within the brave companies. We did a few of steps in this direction of digitalization and 4.0 industry. And the experience that we got was very surprising for us. Last couple of years we put several digital platforms from the working order technology, and we automatized everything, and we put monitors in the production area. When I started with this idea, I was alone in the company. who thought that our workers could adapt on such a big software and hardware platforms, because we use several softwares and hardwares. And within 2 years, our experience is that within a very short period of time, 1 month and a half, our workers were completely acquainted with all the equipment.
Exactly.
And the only comment when I asked them, I was entering in the production area, and I asked one young worker, what do you think about this digital platform? He told me, please, Chief, could you put this on my phone? I don't want to go to the screen. This was astonishing. And the question is, we have been making several researches about artificial intelligence. And we have been doing this for 1 year and a half with a team of 4 people, a multidisciplinary team. And after 1 year and a half, we stopped it because we realized that we cannot provide such a big quantity of data to analyze only 3 to 4 parameters, which were important for our company. What is your impression, and what do you think, what is your prediction for the future? When artificial intelligence could be useful as an advisor, not as giving decisions, but always can give a good advice.
Okay. Can I reply first to your remark? I fully agree. The mental attitude of many people today is, okay, I have my mobile phones. I have a lot of apps here. I'm already connected as a person. I know everything which is happening in the world. Why, when I get to the factory, I cannot have the same quantity and quality of information for doing my job that I have at home? This is why I call it a social revolution. We are using these digital technologies before as a people, as a citizen, then in the company, in the industry, which is exactly the opposite evolution that we had in the second and third industrial revolution. If you do not go 4.0 as a company, you will lose the best people. You will lose the best people. The best people will not come to work for you anymore. And this is I got a phone call a year ago from one of my best students. And he asked me an advice because he was called for doing an interview in Rome by a company. And he said to me, shall I go there? And I said, of course. I mean, it's a multinational Italian company. It's a global leader. Why you don't want to go there to have the interview? And he said, because they want me to go physically there to do the interview. They are paying me the taxis, the train, and the hotel. And I said, so what? Why they don't use Skype to do the interview? And I said, because they want to see you face to face. Oh, yes, but I can go there for the second or third interview, but the first 2 interviews can be done by Skype. Okay, fine. And then, Marco, they asked me for this European format-based curricula. What is it? Of course, it was provocative. And I said, it's a curriculum. Yeah, why they don't go on LinkedIn? They find all the information in my curriculum. And I replied to him, yeah, but in LinkedIn, they find all your professional skill, not your hobbies, human skills. You know what he replied to me? Oh, they go on Facebook, they find everything. He went there, he did the interview. But what was saying to me, is this a company which has understood what's going to happen in the future? Is a company which is good for me to work for? So your people will then become your ally in this Industry 4.0. Now, going back to the AI, I think that AI now is over-quoted. And like any, it's up to, it's fine, and a lot of consultants now are coming, AI. I think AI is there for more than 25 years. My first paper as a young researcher was on artificial neural network for manufacturing 25 years ago. What was the problem 25 years ago? We had not enough data to train artificial intelligence algorithms. Now we have the data. What is the problem? that if those data are not, let me say, selected, if those algorithms are not designed by industrial people, the artificial intelligence application to industrial will fail. It's not only the mathematicians or the computer scientists that you need. You still need to have people who have know-how of the industry. If you do this, then it will help you.
Thank you very much, Professor TAISCH.
Thank you very much.
And let's join me in a big applause for Professor TAISCH for the
Thank you so
wonderful
much.
presentation. Thank you.
And thanks for inviting me.
Thank you. Please.
Thank you.